Hi there YouTube, my name is Nico, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I produced my new original song called Revolve. I recently got the new MacBook Air and I upgraded from Garageband to Logic Pro X. Now in my previous videos, you would have seen that I enjoy using GarageBand and I think it is quite a powerful piece of software, especially for the fact that it is a free software package. However, you need an Apple to run the software, of course. And I now have my MacBook Air and I'm going to show you guys how I used Logic Pro. Of course, I am still a beginner with the software. I'll just show a few things that I used in the software. So let's get into it. Okay, so let me show you guys what I've got over here. I've got my grand piano, I've got the drum track, I've got a bass track. Then over here I've got a synthesizer bass, and I also have another synthesizer to produce some melody for me as well. Now, I have only 5 tracks, so it's not a very complicated song over here, but I can now go into a whole bunch of detail. So what I like about Logic Pro X a lot is the fact that if I have an idea, I can sketch out the idea or start with the idea in GarageBand on my iPad. After that, if I choose to do so, I can then export it from my iPad and then import that song or that idea into Logic Pro, where I have a lot more functionality. There is, however, one thing that I enjoy about GarageBand on the iPad that you don't have in Logic Pro X, and that is, of course, the fact that you have a guitar string that you can strum by taking your finger across the strings on the screen. That is unfortunately a function that is not in Logic Pro X. Okay, so let's go a little bit deeper in here. If I look at this grand piano track, I can look at the MIDI notes by clicking this part. I can drag this up, of course, to make it a little bit bigger for me to see. And there is the notes. Now, all of these notes I can go and edit if I want to. I can change the length. I can change the tone. I can quantize it if I want to make sure that all of the notes is where I want it to be. That is just one part of the track. Of course, I've got my drums over here and the drum track. If I look at my drum track, you will see that I've got different parts to it. If I select this first section, you will see it's soft with a lot of fill, a little bit of percussion and hi-hats and the snare drum, but the bass drum is turned off. And that is because in the beginning of the song, I don't want it to hit that hard. However, once I get to bar number 5 over here, I now change how these drums behave. So I now have a much harder hitting drum with the bass track and the hi-hats and the snare. I have my bass over here, very simple bass line, nothing too complex. However, I did do something with this bass track, and that was to add a little bit of arpeggiation in it. So you will see over here, I've got an arpeggiator that was added to my bass. So if you look over here, this is the arpeggiation that I'm using currently. Let's just turn this on so you guys can hear what it sounds like. Okay, so that would be the arpeggiator of the bass. Now, I also have a whole bunch of features turned on over here. I've got the bass amp that I can select. And for this, I have a whole bunch of options that I can go through and choose. I chose the bright and crunchy one, as you can see on the screen over here. That will change the sound of the bass. Okay, and then I added a compressor in here. You can turn on the limiter. Currently my limiter is turned off, but I've got a little bit of compression happening. And the same thing can be said for some of the other tracks as well, especially for my drums. Now my drums, I also have the compressor and so on it, and I can limit the volume of the drums, bass, well, each one of the tracks for that matter. Okay, and then I've got this one over here, the monster bass. This also has an arpeggiator on it. So if I go in here and let's turn on the piano roll, you will hear what it sounds like. Now, of course, these arpeggiators I can go and change. There is a whole bunch of them that I can go and select, as you can see over here, different styles that you can change. Okay, and then of course the last track that I have was the second synthesizer. This one also has a little bit of an arpeggiating sound to it. However, it is built into the sound itself. So for this one, I didn't need an arpeggiator. It is already an arpeggiated track. So for that, of course, I can go and look at the different sounds over here. So you will see that I have the arpeggiator sounds that I've selected, and I can select from any one of these. There's a whole bunch of different instruments that I can select from. So this is again another nice feature of Logic Pro, is the fact that you have all of these different instruments. And then finally, you also have the legacy instruments. And that is where you will actually find the whole complete Garageband sound pack that you have on your tablet. You also have available to you in Logic Pro. Okay, so those are all of the sounds that I've used in this song. I added some effects to this as well, some reverb in certain areas where I needed some reverb and so forth. After that, when you are happy with what your sound sounds like, I can go and change it, of course, by selecting my mixer track over here, you can see. And if I play it, you will see what happens with my mixer track. Okay, so quite a lot happening over there, and what's nice is you can see each effect that you've added to each one of the tracks, and then you can see the stereo output and your master output over here to see how loud and what your song is going to look like in the end. Okay, so this is just a few of the features that I used in producing this song in Logic Pro X. I hope you enjoyed this song today. And if you want to support my channel, please click the subscribe button if you are not subscribed already. And you can also click the like button if you like it, share it, and leave a comment for me in the section down below. And until I see you in the next video, cheers.